Hello, hello, everybody. How you fine folks doing today? It is a wonderful Thursday. Hope you are having fun. Oh, let's see. I should probably tune that down a little bit. Sorry. Let's see here. There we go. Song's almost done, but we got to get moving here. All right. Put that back. We'll come back to that later for break. All right. So we are cruising along here. We got through our intro. I didn't really get into chapter 5 very much. We kind of got 1, 2, and 3 done here, and then we bumped out project 4. We'll just do a short one this week. You can't see that page. My goodness. There we go. Now you can see the page. Hey, Yogi. All right. How's that? That looks a lot better here. So last week, really did like the intro to Tomcat, starting up Java Servlets, and then we moved project 4. I said it'll just be a quick one here to make sure you can get your Tomcat server up and running this week. So hopefully you got a chance to do that. You could get the basic pages, a little Hello World servlet, and then we're going to talk more about servlets and JSP, the Java server pages, which is awesome. And a little bit of object-oriented programming review, depending on how hard you hit this in 1500. This might be new, so don't worry too much about it. We'll get there. We'll get you up to speed. And if you have the misfortune of being in more than one of my classes, like if you're also taking the 2151, the second Java programming course, you'll be very familiar with this. But we're good for now. Okay. So let's pull back up NetBeans here. And again, once we had everything set up there with our Java, just pointing Tomcat to our JDK where we had installed it, we should be in better shape here just to let NetBeans start everything up. Yeah, that's fine. All right. So NetBeans get going here. We looked at our little Hello World servlet. So there's a lot that happens behind the scenes with Tomcat and mapping all of these servlets, which is really cool. Thankfully, we don't have to do most of that thanks to NetBeans doing the heavy lifting. So a lot of what's in Chapter 5 is doing some deep dives into those config files, which is good. It's good to know, and you can appreciate all the things the tool does for us that we don't have to do by hand. But when we were to deploy this code to a production Tomcat server that we actually wanted people out in the World Wide Web to hit, we'd want to be a little bit more careful with some of these steps and making sure we're not exposing things we shouldn't. But we're okay for now. So let's see. That was our little Hello World program here. Come on, NetBeans. Over here. And what was cool about this is I could actually put it right in my GitHub directory. And then we don't have to zip anything for submissions. We don't have the whole directories. We're just going to do a quick, just a small project 4, because I do need you folks to do a project in Java. As part of making sure we've covered all the bases here, because the final project can either be done in Java with JSP and servlets or in PHP if you prefer PHP. Either one will be okay. So you folks will have that option for your final project. All right, it is opening slowly. Yeah, we'll talk about that today, Yogi. Yogi Jeev. All right. Slowly. So the cool thing, right, when we go to just run our program, if we had set that up and we pointed our NetBeans at our Tomcat server, it's all up and running. We don't even have to open up XAMPP to do that. We'll need XAMPP to start the database later when we start talking about doing database access in Java. But again, we're not quite there yet. So for now, we won't need the XAMPP control panel to start things like we had to do when we were doing PHP. Oh my goodness. I don't want to resolve problems. That's okay. Oh yeah, let me close out these projects here. These ones open. All right, here's our Hello World project. There we go. I don't even know what the problem is with it. I don't know what I was complaining about. Complain about our libraries? No. Config? No. Unresolved project problem. Fixed by resolve project problems. Okay. Yeah, let's that thing for a minute. So remember our JSP pages we hadn't really talked a whole lot about. We'll get to that today. Just live here. They're static pages like our PHP pages. They're just static content. Now, they work dynamically in that you can do interesting stuff in code with them, but they're just text files. Nothing needs to get compiled for those. With our servlets, that is actual Java code that does get compiled down to those Java class files, the Java bytecode. Look at that. There we go. Don't need any of these here. So this was our default implementation here. Did nothing more than set this up. So what servlets do, right, is they accept web requests and they return web responses. So you can either handle the get method, which takes a request and a response, or you can do the post method. So in our case, what we did here is we said both of these, post and get, I don't care which one you do, I want to do the exact same process, right? So we just have a default method here called process request that will do this thing, regardless of whether or not it was a post or a get. Now, often we're going to want to handle them differently. Remember, our get requests were typically things that were like read-only, lookups, where if I resubmit to the server, it doesn't matter. The post requests we typically reserve for things that we're changing, we're submitting data and going to do something with it. So anything that we expect to have changed, we usually want to do a post. And then when the user tries to refresh a page, they get a warning like, oh, hey, do you want to resubmit this data? And most people get scared by warnings, or they just click past them without reading. One or the other. So posts are usually reserved for the create, update, or delete operations, and gets for the read operations. Not always the case, but that's typically our rule of thumb for that. Okay. And what servlets do, right? They take that request, and then they give back a response. So in the response here, what we get to do is we are literally print lining HTML out. Which looks horrible, but that's okay. It's super tedious. So as you can imagine, doing actual HTML stuff inside of servlets is not all that ideal. Having to generate all these tags inside of quotes and make sure they're all proper here and do all that good stuff. Right? Sure, you can. That's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. But it's tedious. So we saw when we were running this guy, let's make sure I've got Firefox, give it a run. See if we can get that to launch here. Close that one down. Go. So fire up my Tomcat server because we pointed it and said, hey, here's where Tomcat lives, thanks to the XAMPP install. And then we updated our little Catalina start launcher to tell it where to go find the Java development kit because we're using the OpenDev one. There we go. Right, we said, oh, here, go find it here. That's our JRE, Java Runtime Environment. It's also the development kit here. Okay, it's working on it. These are all the cool things it does behind the scenes, starting. There it goes. So in 20 seconds, it started. My goodness. 20,000 milliseconds, some odd. It started. Now Hello World is running. And it's loading here in Firefox. working real hard on it. Let's see. Come on, Firefox. There we go. And remember, by default, Tomcat uses 8080 as the unsecured port. It's not HTTPS. This is just plain old HTTP 8080. /hello world does not give me the servlet. Remember, what we get by default is we get this index.jsp page that was generated for us. And it just says hello world. Not anything super exciting here. If we want to go find the servlet, where all this stuff gets set up here in the web.xml, and we'll talk more about this today. Web.xml says, okay, I have a servlet. I want to map it to /hello world. So if you go to hello world /hello world, I'll give you the servlet name called hello world, which goes to look up your servlets and says, oh, you have one called hello world. Let's run the hello world class. Where this is in a package called hello world. So it's hello world.hello world. Yeah, my namings are terrible here, but we're just starting here. Okay? So this is the JSP, the Java server page, /hello world will give me the servlet hello world at /hello world. And because Java is obnoxious, it is case sensitive. We get a 404 not found when we try the lowercase hello world. So do be careful here. Right? Lots of little gotchas when dealing with our servlets. Okay, now I can get to the servlet. I think this is where we got last week. Does this ring bells? Everyone feeling okay so far? Okay, cool. All right, so we're going back to chapter 5. We're going to kind of walk through some of this stuff here. Let's see. Now, what do you guys think of the Murrock books, by the way? They're definitely, it's not a traditional textbook style. So I appreciate that about them. It tends to be very, here's the thing, here's the code. Here's the thing, here's the code. Or thing and code, whichever direction my hand is looking here. I forget lefts and rights. I get confused easy. Right, but sometimes it doesn't go super deep on some of those examples. So that's my only concern there. You guys read the textbook, right? Maybe. Oh, I did finally post that quiz, by the way. I didn't do the servlets quiz, but I did put a quiz out there for like the last bit of PHP. So do take a look in D2L. I set that one out till April 1st. Just I want to make sure you had enough time to do it here. So another week or so, 11:59 p.m. It's not an April Fool's Day joke. This is a real quiz. I actually do. So this just kind of wraps up the rest of the PHP concepts in a quick little quiz there. And then once we finish up servlets and JSP today, I'll post another quiz for like the intro stuff. It's mostly the later chapters, but you know, yeah, mostly the later chapters. Yeah, if you have, it's not time bound except for the due date. So go ahead, open it, close it, open it, close it, save, whatever. Like take your time. There's no rush on this one, but so you can go look it back up in the text if you need to, for sure. Okay. So again, with servlets, we throw things. Right? We could crash. We could do bad things. I mean, yeah, if you want to spend 100 hours on it, I don't recommend that. But I mean, like, you can open it, look at the questions, and come back to it a couple days later. That's fine. As long as you're not like actively working on it for 100+ hours, that would make me cry. Okay, please don't spend that much time on anything in the class, anything at all. Never 100 hours. Okay, is that fair? That's 2.5 weeks of full-time work is 100 hours. That's crazy for one thing. No. Yep. Okay. So exceptions can happen. We're just going to pass the buck and crash. That's okay. There's ways we can handle exceptions we'll look at later and try and catch exceptions at the Tomcat level. Right, like we saw that 404 error, that was okay. If we try and do something we shouldn't be able to do here, let's try that just for fun. Let's see what happens, because this is in a try. There's no catch. There's a try and finally block, because what needs to happen here, at some point, something worked in try. Whatever worked, we want to close that here. So we're not catching anything, but whenever that part is done, we're going to close whatever we've done with this output stream to make sure it's not left hanging open, because if it's left hanging open, we're never going to respond. So let's actually do it in the middle here. Let's do it, say, maybe between head and body. Let's do integer.parseInt given 10. Let's make this thing crash on purpose, right? Because that's always fun. And I want to stop and restart. Everything's fine. We get to the JSP page. Let's navigate to the servlet. Uh-oh, it's thinking real hard about it. Unable to connect. Oh dear. We didn't even get a decent error out of here. Do we see anything in our logs? Why do we have this here twice? That's weird. It's the same log, isn't it? It's a different log. That's weird. Unable to connect. We made it sad. Did it not start? Maybe it didn't actually even start. Let's see. We make it start. I hadn't even started yet. I was not waiting patiently enough. There we go. I have to wait more patiently. I thought it launched our page, though, didn't it? Maybe it did. All right. 11 seconds to start up here. There we go. Okay. There's our JSP. Let's see if we can hit that servlet. No. We got nothing. We got a title. Look at that. We got back partial response. Right, and it crashed. Do we get anything in our... Here we go. Here's the crash error. We can see in the logs here that it crashed. Number format exception. Boom. Didn't work. Kept on trying. Our server's still up and running. We can refresh in our page here, right? But all we get back was what was currently written to the output stream. So we, between head and body, right, we tried to do this. So we crashed. This code never ran. Exception, finally we closed it. We don't even see the exception there, right? Bad stuff happened. Okay, so do be careful, right? Bad stuff can happen. Let's go back. Let's see if we can get some parameters here now. So we want to do something with these requests, right? So we did our mappings. All right. I don't think our context. Oh yeah, here's our path. So at /hello world is where you find us. And then from /hello world, it's another /hello world to find that URL. All right, let's close this one down, close that one down. Let's see if we can get some data out, right? Because we're handling gets, we're handling posts. Okay, so let's see if we can do that. So if we want to get some data here, what we do in the servlet, let's come back here. So let's see if we can get some information. So from the request, come on, request dot, there we go. We have all of these options. Get. Can do all of these cool things. Right, from that request. One of them, get, where'd it go here? There we go. Nope, get request. No, where's my get parameter? Oh my goodness. There it is. Why was it not showing me that before? That's obnoxious. Get parameter. That type ahead is failing me. So get parameter tries to look for a parameter that was passed to our call here. So we'll say, I don't know, we'll say name. See if we have a name parameter. We'll say string name is this, and then we'll out.println println, and maybe we'll put this, I don't know, is it an h2 plus name plus ending the h2 tag. This is so obnoxious to do in Servlets, but that's okay. So we'll see if we can get a name parameter. Okay. So this is actually pretty nice, right? Getting a parameter out. We've got a name here. Building, starting Tomcat. Oh goodness. This process is a little tedious as well. I sort of miss PHP being a little faster. But we're getting there. Right, we're going to start our Tomcat server back up. Come on. There we go, 128 started. Here's Firefox. Oh my. Come on. It's going to be one of these days, isn't it? A long day. All right, I got my coffee. The best part about programming, when you're waiting for the computer, you can drink some coffee. All right, so there's the JSP index page. And then we want the Hello World servlet. Null. There is no name. Well, that sort of makes sense, right? We tried to get name, it didn't exist. Let's see, can we pass it name? Name equals test. Now, if I give it the name parameter, look at that. Hi there. Is anyone home? Uh-oh. We broke it. That was too much. Is anyone home? So you're supposed to have pluses here for spaces, for HTML encoding. Because you're not supposed to have spaces in the URL. But another question mark worked. Good, 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 good. Look at that. We're able to pass it a name parameter and do something with it. So maybe what we wanted to do, though, is we could check. We could say if name does not equal null, then print this out. Right? Hi there, whatever your name is. Got to recompile. Okay. Hi, there's anyone home. If we don't give it name, we just see nothing. Right? If we give it name, but don't give it a value, it exists, but its value is empty. So there is a difference between it being empty and it not existing at all. So let's be a little bit careful. We could build forms. So maybe we build a form here in our JSP page. Right, why not? Let's put a little form in here. And I really want to copy paste a form from somewhere because I don't like writing these things by hand. let's see, an input for text, type equals text, name equals name, and we need a label, enter your name, and then we need a button, like a submit button here. Oh goodness, really should remember these. It's not the kind of thing I keep in my memory, so that's okay. We'll just go copy off of ourselves here from another project, and we're not going to feel bad about it. Right? You agree we're not going to feel bad about it? Having to go look this up? It's okay. Don't worry. Let's go find a form. There's a form. There we go. Boom. Got a form. There. Put all that back in here. All right. So the action then, we want to go to /hello world. Okay, we'll have a name. Don't need to select. Oh, that's right. We just wanted text input. Name was name. Didn't have a value here. And a button, submit, and I don't know, go or something, right? Why not? Let's try that. So does our JSP page have that? Right, name and go. So I don't have to restart for JSP changes, which is nice because it goes and loads the file. Right, I have to restart everything if I change the servlet because that is compiled code. So I have to recompile it and then make a Tomcat reload it. So that's another reason that JSP, these little Java server pages are amazing. Forget this. We don't need no stinking comment there. Okay. Let's see now if it works. Name is Eric. Let's go. Uh-oh, didn't take me to hello world. I need hello world / hello world. That's right. Hello world directory, hello world servlet. Try that again. Eric. Uh-oh, Eric. I think I didn't reload it first. There we go. Now it went and took me there. Look at that. And we get a hi there, Eric. Cool. So we can make forms go to our servlets and do things, which is nice. Okay. We could also then, if we wanted to, we could post some data. So we'll change this here to be a post, just for fun. Let's see if that one works for us. So let's refresh our page. So our hello world, we'll post. We still get the data. Right, remember what we were doing here with our servlet was regardless of whether it was a get or a post, do get or do post, we called this process request method. And this is where we put that information here. So getting parameters works the same way whether or not it was a get or a post, which is nice. Remember in PHP, we had to tell it specifically, get it out of the get or get it out of the post. And we had to check for both, which is kind of obnoxious. Right, having to do that each time. Okay. Now the other thing we can do, let's see, let's go back to our page here. And say maybe we want to give it some options here. Maybe we had some list boxes here. Where's my page? Page. There we go. So let's add another. We never did checkboxes, did we? Here. Did we do a checkbox? I don't think we did any checkboxes. We did radio buttons, right? I think we did radio buttons. Yeah, we did radio buttons. Radio. Okay, radio buttons, sure. I think, is it checkbox? I want to say it's checkbox. ID. Name is, I don't know, feeling. Well, I'm happy. We'll have a feeling here. I don't think we need these IDs. Oh no, we do want those there because that matches. Sure. This is the happy. This is tired. Tired. Checkbox. Let's see if we can do those. Tap it in a little bit here. Let's see if we can add some checkboxes. Back to our servlet, reload. Oh goodness, didn't change the text. Happy, tired, and all of those are like on weird. I don't know. It didn't bring it down a line, so let's bring that down a line. Like name, and then maybe we'll add a break. /br or br/. No, /br. That sounds right. Okay, yeah. So name and happy, tired, we can check them here. Post the data, get the data. Let's go back to make that a get here because I want to see that showing up. Okay, so we'll resubmit there. So we see we have multiple feelings here. So feeling here. So if we just get the parameter out in our page here, if we say this like get parameter feeling, see it's feeling. If feeling is not null, let's say, I don't know, computer feels feeling 2. Let's see what we get. So this one we now have to recompile, restart Tomcat. So we got to hit the run button, give it 10 seconds, go check your Facebook, right? There we go. Let's see. So Eric, and we'll say tired. I've not had enough coffee today. Computer feels tired too. It looks good so far. Now is it also happy? Oh, it forgot about tired. I remember I sent it happy and tired, and it only feels happy. My computer does not feel tired. Does computers not get tired? I feel like computers can get tired. Like they just kind of slow down and get, they're running a lot of things and they don't want to open up new processes. Is that a thing? Is that real? Maybe not. Okay, so what we do instead then in our servlet, instead of saying get parameter, we want to get parameter values. And what that's going to do is going to get me a list here, or an array of strings. Right? So then instead of, if it's not null, I need to check to see what do I have. Right? So we'll say if, maybe that we'll call this feelings, right? Feelings dot length is greater than 0. Well, we need all of them set up as a string. So we can have a string for list of feelings. That's not great. Do we have, what's the string? There's a join, isn't there? Java string array join. I think there's a join. You can do it in other languages really nicely. How do we do that here? Yeah, string.join. There we go. Nope, that was not what we wanted. String.join. Look at this. The NAND flash is wearing down on SSD over time. Yeah, yeah. Hippity hoppity, your coding techniques are not my property. Oh, man. Yeah, sure. Here we go. So we're going to join, and we want to comma separate these things here. So here. So if we have some, it's string.join. We want a comma. No. Join. Comma and space separated by the feelings. Okay, so we're going to comma separate all the feelings we have there. That's what a nice empathetic computer does here, right? Says, I feel like that too. Let's give that a run. Thankfully, this is kind of smart And what it does is it noticed Tomcat was already running. We've got this cool undeploy step that makes it undeploy and then reloads it behind the scenes, so it didn't have to stop and start Apache, which is super cool. That's real smart. Okay, so let's see. So now can we give it a bunch of feelings? We'll just refresh this page. Here. The computer feels happy, tired too. Let's see, can we give it more feelings? So notice the parameters here are anded. You just and feeling equals WTF man. Yep, that's how the computer feels. One of those days. So if we expect to get multiples, right, whether or not it's a checkbox or whatever it happens to be, we can get parameter values here. So I'll leave a note here, right? So get values, get parameter values is good for lists of parameters, like checkboxes. Okay? Where versus get parameter is a single. Okay? Now, what we haven't done, remember there's that JavaScript alert example. We haven't done any sanitizing. Tutorialscollection.com. That sounds legit. Sounds legit. Here. This is what we want. We want all of that. Put it in Notepad. I wanted the ending script tag. / script. Take it all down to a single line. All those quote marks look funny too. Yeah, quotes don't always paste right. Gotta be careful with those. Single line, please. Single line, please. Single line. Single line. All right. Let's see. Can we fix these quotes too? I don't like the quote characters. It gets really funny. Let's take that. Okay. Let's see. Is my name? Ooh, look. It didn't alert. Well, that's nice. It didn't do it. Let's see. Did it have any errors anywhere? No, not there. Not there. No messages. Cool. So it just didn't do it. Let's see. Did it show up in the, let's see, view page source. Oh, it did show up. Okay, so we didn't do something right then with the JavaScript. Okay, we did it wrong. Oh, because it was a function. I'm sorry. Yep, I pasted the wrong stuff, folks. We can't even break our own server. Okay, come back here. We don't want it as a function. We just want to show the alert. My bad. My bad. There we go. Now let's see if we can break it. Go. Nothing. Oh, there it is. Uh-oh. Oh dear. We have not sanitized our input. Remember back when we started in PHP, we wanted to sanitize for HTML? Right? Because you don't want to be doing this sort of thing and letting people do bad stuff, injecting JavaScript into your application. That's real dangerous, okay? So be careful. What is a Java servlet coding of inputs? Let's Google it. I didn't see it show up in the textbook. Bippity boppity boop. There's encode. Doesn't have the word encode. That's not what I wanted. Goodness. That's character encoding. Sanitizing user input. happycoding.io. I like this. I like that. Okay. Yeah, bad user input. Okay. Pay me $1 million or I'll delete your file. Disallow, we can escape. Escaping is probably better. Cleaning, maybe? We don't want to disallow. Escaping our content. This is the one we want. We could replace and replace all. Oh, that sounds obnoxious. Here we go. String escape utilities. Oh goodness, so we have to load that up there? That sounds obnoxious. Using other options? No, I don't like that. Apache Common Library. We don't have to download the jar. This is not built in. That is unfortunate. Nope. So not a good way. Remember, PHP gave us that built-in sanitizing. Java Servlet, sanitize, input. Does not appear to be built in. JSoup looks like the recommended way here. Sanitize. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Don't see one. And I can't even spell sanitize right. That's okay. So just be careful. We'll find a good way to do it. Stack Overflow is usually the best place here. Yeah, JSoup. Yeah, you should always do it. Thanks. He wants to know how. That's not helpful, friend. Okay. That was a fun rabbit hole. So just be careful. I think find and replace might be our best bet for now, if we don't want to have to build our own library. That feels ugly. Okay. All right, how are we feeling about servlets and getting information? Like getting our post and our get data out? Right, it's pretty easy. Get request, get parameter, or get parameter values. Looking good so far? All right, you okay with that? Waiting on somebody to say something in chat. Excuse me. Okay, cool. And I don't know, this hopefully it's not too different from what we've done in PHP. We're just looking at how to do it in a different language now. That's all. Okay. Now, things we might want to do, right? Because doing this HTML stuff is obnoxious in a servlet. Right? Maybe we don't want to be doing it in a servlet. Maybe we want to do it in a JSP, a Java server page. Right? This is a lot easier to do HTML stuff. And hey, look, there's some sort of funky-looking tag here with %signs. That's how we embed code in JSP, Java server pages. We can embed code. So if we want to send a request to a Java server page, we can do that. I'm going to add a new page, a JSP. We'll call this hello world, hello raw. I can never type hello world. Okay. Look at that. Now we don't want this in the body. Okay? What we want is this stuff. Right, but I don't want to have to do it this same way here, right? A little messy. So if I want to send my request here, so let's comment all this out for now, because we want to save it. I don't want to get rid of it yet, but instead of having to do all of this stuff, right, I don't want to do any of this here. I don't even want a print writer. I don't want any of that. All I want to do is I can either forward the request or I can redirect the request. We're going to do forwarding right now because I want to send it on with some information. I don't want to say, oh no, go look over here to a different location, because I want to take all of this information here. So I'm going to forward it. So I need a string for the URL here. We'll say is / hello world.jsp. Okay, and we get our servlet context as a method dot get request dispatcher given the URL. So we're going to send it to here. We forward. And we send the request and the response, because we want the servlet to have the request. And it also needs to be able to respond using the response here. So we send it on. We're sending them all the request information here. We're forwarding it on to the servlet. So right now, hello world has, I guess we'll put that back. We'll just leave hello world there. Okay. Oh yeah, we never even opened that. So we don't even need our try and catch block. Nice. Got a little format. Okay. Look at that. It's reloading. Did it reload automatically when I saved? That would be nice. Let's see if it did. Go back. Right. Get all of our names. Just put in like test. We go. It redirects me to. It looks like it hit the servlet here, right? I don't see a .jsp, but what I got here, right, is the JSP page. Hello world. Hello world. I'm actually a JSP. Now, please don't say it's a JSP page, right? Because remember, JSP stands for Java Server Page. So what you'd be saying there is, I'm a Java Server page. Don't do that, right? You'll just sound silly. It's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world, but you'll sound silly. Look at that. So it looks like we hit the servlet. We did hit the servlet. The servlet just said, hey, send it over here. Let the JSP take care of it. Okay, so now we need to write some code here. So we can write code inside our Java server pages. Let's see. I want to make sure we're doing this right. Come on. Goodness, so many pages. So many pages. We're getting there. There we go. Okay. %. Ending %. This means code block, right? Once we're here, we can write code. Right? Inside of this is a code block. So now I can write Java code. Just like when we're in PHP, we could write PHP code inside of PHP code blocks. We can do it right here. So we're going to do that same sort of thing. We're going to go look for our information here. Let's see if we can get the name back out. And then I want to show the name. So I'm going to say if name does not, name does not equal null. I got ahead of myself there. Now here's where it gets silly, is that I need to start the parenthesis, then I end the code block. In here, we'll say, hi there. Do another code block. put in this equals here because we want to put this in, end the code block, name, and the h2 header. This is saying stuff name into this little spot here. Then I do another code block and say end that parenthesis, or end that curly brace. No, that one. Okay, so this curly brace matches right up here, this if. So if this is true, this will run. If it's not true, this HTML never gets spit out, which is pretty cool. Okay, we save that page, we'll refresh, and we get hi there test. Look at that. It's able to go get the information out of that request. We can do the same thing. So we'll also here then, let's come back to our servlet, and we'll do this. Go to our page, start a code block, end the code block, paste inside. End the code block. Nope, 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 that's the wrong direction. That way. End the code block. If that's true, here, the computer fields, start a code block, jam whatever we want inside of here. What we want to jam inside of there is a string join on feelings. And we don't need all these crazy quotes. Start a code block, end the curly brace, end the code block. I know this looks messy, right? And I agree. This does look messy, right? See if we can give that a little format here. Maybe I would tab that in one. I don't know. It's hard to tell where you want to put these things, right? You just want to make it look nice. So we'll say, hey, okay, get the parameters. If we have parameters for feelings, then we want to do this thing outside of the code block because this is HTML, but also stuff this in. So add some more code if that's true. All right, let's save it and refresh. Computer feels happy, tired too. And let's see if we can add more feelings, right? Feeling is JSP, WTF. Right? So hopefully you're seeing a lot of similarities here between the PHP and the JSP. What's cool is we have the full power of code writing here to do anything we want. Then we can send stuff to the JSP to do the pretty looking HTML output. That make sense? So like it's silly to just forward these things and not do anything else, but we can do additional things in our servlet we're going to look at in just a little bit here. Oh. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right, so we've been talking for a while. I've got 2 o'clock on the clock. I have 1:59, so almost 2 o'clock on the clock. So why don't we take a quick 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and look at some other cool things we can do with this servlet model. And again, we're sort of building off of that MVC model. So what we get here is the servlet is our controller. The models are these JSPs. I'm sorry, the views are the JSPs. So the controller is the servlet, the views are the JSPs, and then we get to have model code that does all the interaction in Java. We can use other Java code as our model to be sending stuff back and forth and doing all of that work that we need to be doing. Okay? That's what we've got. So let's take a break. We'll come back in about 10 minutes or so. Let me find some more music. I'm gonna go get some more coffee. And we'll pick it up in a little bit. Come on, it's real slow. Wakey, wakey. Just gonna stop my server here. I don't want it to take up any resources. While we wait for that. All right, and we'll flip to our break time screen. Oops. I had the wrong screen on the whole time, didn't I? That's a shame. We'll go to 2:10 p.m. All right, gang, we're back. All right, did I have the wrong time in there? What time did I have set? 21. I don't know how to type numbers, folks. Yeah, sorry about that. Hopefully you didn't think we're on break that long. Okay, so we're back looking at how we can do this sort of MVC style model. Again, like we did in PHP, where we had the controller, and then it would send requests off to the different views based on what we were requesting. So we can do that same sort of style here, where we might have an action parameter, and we could forward to different JSP pages. Nope, not JSP pages. Different JSPs. We don't want to have pages. They're Java server pages already, just with JSP, based on what the action is. The other cool thing we can do with our JSPs here, we can add like a new folder here. Call this. This is our, what do we call it over in our PHP land? Take a peek. Gotta remember this here. We had views. The util? No, it wasn't util. Views, right? Yeah, they're all in views. So let's add a little views folder here. Why not? Add a views folder. Inside of here now, let's add a JSP for, how about the header? And how about we add one for the footer? New JSP footer. Okay, so just like we did over here in PHP land, we had a nice little footer that just kind of ended our application. We had a nice consistent ending to all of our HTMLs. I mean, a nice consistent header here as well. Now, header was, we didn't have any navigation here. That's okay. That's fine. Probably it would have some nice navigation, but that's okay. So this is my awesome Java servlet as a header. Then in all of our pages now, we don't need to have any of this head information. Right? We don't need any of this. What we want to do then instead is we want to include another JSP. Let's grab that here. Make sure I get the right include syntax. There we go. Where'd it go? Here we go. So we would say, I want to, this is percent to start a code block, right? Ending percent to end the code block. And then here we use the at notation. So at does a couple special things, but we want to include. So at is more of a, it's a like a page level directive versus this is just a general code block versus this is an insertion code block, that sort of thing. So you want to include, let me say file equals, this is views, and it's header.jsp. And, oh, look at that, it already closed the end of the code block. And then we also want to include then at the end our footer. Footer.jsp. And let's see, oh, I gotta start my server back up. That's right. I had stopped it to try and make things go a little faster. So remember, an include basically takes the contents and jams them in. Right? It becomes part of this code, part of this page. Let's see if this thing will run. All right, so hit the JSP page, we say test, I'm feeling happy and tired, go. Oh, views/header.jsp was not found. Uh-oh, we got an exception. Not in views. Oh, look at that. I did header with a capital letter instead of lowercase. My goodness. Thank you, Java, for being obnoxious. We'll do uppercase and lower. We'll lowercase everything just to try and be consistent, perhaps. Uh-oh. Now I've got a different error. Okay, let's just restart it here. header and footer. Hello world, test, happy and tired. There we go. Copy our awesome application. My awesome Java servlet is the title. Okay, so now we are properly including them here. Okay. So now there's a couple ways you might see includes. So there's lots of different styles for this. So this is the basic code include, right? There's also a way of including using the JST, our Java standard templates, which are pretty cool. So the JST is nice. It does a lot of handy things for us that we're going to look at, or the JSTL we could do. We could also try, let's see if this one works for us here. We want to say JSP : to do something. So we're going to give a JSP directive inside of this. So we'll say include here, and we'll say page equals view/header.jsp. Ending my quote there. There we go. That's what I was missing. So this is an alternative syntax to the code block. This is a directive, right, inside of essentially the HTML. So when this gets executed by Tomcat, it says, oh, this is a JSP, this is a special thing, and it does the conversion for us, which is pretty nice. That way we don't have to worry about these code blocks, but sometimes that's obnoxious. Right, so I'm going to comment that out. We'll just do like a little HTML comment here. Or we could even do a Java comment. Let's do this as the Java comment. --. Okay. Remember, the HTML comments get sent through to the response because it's part of the HTML. Java comments do not. So we shouldn't see that here on our include. There it is. We'll view our page source, and we shouldn't see that comment there. Right? Oops, my footer is in a bad spot there. We shouldn't have ended the body. Is that right? Can we end the... Okay, sure. We'll feel like that's bad, but that's okay. We'll just refresh, see what we get. Okay, now it's happier, I guess. Head. I thought the body ends before the footer. Let's Google that. Well, body and footer. I don't know. Let's see what the internets tell us. Look at the footer tag. W3 Schools is actually decent. This is a good source here. I have several footers in one document? Oh, really? Goodness. So where should it go? Oh, it does go inside the body. Look at that. All right. It goes inside the body. We're happy. The internet has said we are correct. So we'll go back to our main page, refresh it, make sure we refresh. Things look good. Right? Copyright our awesome application. Okay. Now, what's a little bit different here is, where is it here? Where's our hello world? This include technically happens at compile time. So these pages do get compiled here. Right? They get translated and compiled to be able to spit out nicely. A JSP tag here is at runtime. So while it's running, it will go and grab that. Just as a slight difference there. Okay, the other ways we can include this here, we can use the JSTL, which is pretty cool. Grab that. So to do it with the JSTL, what we need to do is we need to say we want to use the JSTL in our page. So it's another page declaration level. So we're going to say, hey, I want to $sign tag library. We're going to have a prefix of, the book uses C, so why not? We'll go with C. And the URI, so what this is here, what we want to include is java.sun.com, JSP, JSTL, core. So we're going to use the JSTL core as C we're going to say see something. So every time we want to include something, instead of this syntax, we could also say then C import. So C colon is the core import. Right? Okay, we want to import. What do we want to import? We want to have the URL of /views/header.jsp. So then I can comment this one out as well. We'll do an HTML comment to that one just for fun. Ooh, is that even going to work? We'll see if that even works. Let's try that. Refresh our page. Oh dear. Unable to compile. Maybe I messed this one up. This maybe needs to be a Java comment. Let's try that. See if that makes it any happier. Oh no. So I'm happy with our... Oh. Missed the @ sign. Sorry. The @ sign. Tell it it's a page level declaration, not a command here. Okay. Maybe that's a little better. Refresh. Oh, goodness. Can't be resolved. Oh, we have to go add the library. Okay, we missed a step. We need to go add this library here. There's a library we have to go add for our Jstl. Okay. So let's go to our project. And this is under libraries. We want to add a library. Do we have Jstl? Here we go. We have the Jstl right here. I'm going to add that library as a reference. We're going to say, hey, our project will use this library, Jstl, Java standard tag library. Okay. Cool. Now let's see. Maybe we have to, let's restart everything. Make sure the whole thing recompiles. Let me get our notes there. Getting emails or things. My goodness. Okay. Test. We are happy and tired. Uh-oh. Still, oh, did I mistype it? Maybe I mistyped it. Yep, sun.com. JSP, JSTL core. Maybe I can fix that typo. Refresh. Is that enough? There we go. Cool. So we'll talk more about this Java standard tag library later, next week. Right? That's on tap for next week. This process generally pretty quick, right? Add the library, say, hey, I want to use it as C, and then C colon will give you all of the things in the Java standard tag library. The JSTL is pretty cool. We just have to say, I want these jars, these little libraries here. Okay. All right, so we've got that. So 3 different ways to import then. My goodness, lots of importing here. So this is the JSTL method. This is the JSP tag method. This is the include directive method. They're all just ever so slightly different. No, don't worry too much about it here. Technically, when it's compiled, it's nice and efficient if we're not changing it much. But if we're going to change a lot, maybe at runtime is better, because then we want to grab it out when it's running. And the JSTL import will also do a runtime import for you. We can change the JSPs, and they will just work for us, which is nice. Okay. So building out these same includes, right, just like we did over in the PHP style. So add some views, right? We can go from there. Let's look. This is the main hello world one. Got some feelings. Let's add. Maybe we want another action here. So what other actions could we do? Let's just for fun. Let's see if we can get a response action. So we'll have a for action is my response.get parameter. Get request.get parameter. Get parameter, and let's look for, say, an action. And if action equals null, we didn't have an action, right? Or maybe action equals dot equals an empty string, then we'll say we should set action to hello world or something. Hello world. I can say over here then if action is equal to, oh my goodness, action equals hello world, then we want to do this one. All right, and then maybe else, I don't know, let's send them to like unknown or something. Again, maybe we'll have an error page here. We'll add a new JSP. We'll call this one error. And we'll have, let's do this. Let's get rid of hello world. Oh, we'll do our includes. Let's come back, grab the same includes. Why not use the, you know what, that should be a view. Let's put that inside a view. Right? Error is a view. Come on, inside, there we go. Got our tag lib. There we go. We'll add the header and the footer. And our footer as well. And we'll just do C include, right? Or C import, why not? URL. And in here then we want to show a message. I don't know, let's put it as an H2, why not? We'll say unable to complete your request. And then let's grab a message. Let's say we want to get a particular, let's see if we can send a message through, right? This is cool. So we can send a message through to this. It doesn't have to be part of the request or the response. We can go and add that as an error from our servlet. So to do that, servlets have a cool property. Where is it over here? Make sure I'm finding the right way. Man, so many going back, errors and back. Let's see. Get parameter. No, where is it here? Aha. We can use this cool notation. If we're using this, we can say $ and then % message. So if we're using the Jstl, we can give it a message here in our JSP. So if we want to set a message then, we can say in our hello world page, no, I'm sorry, our hello world controller, our servlet, we're going to send them to error. This is views error JSP. We need to take the request and we're going to set an attribute. We give it a message and we'll say unknown action. Please go back and try again. Sure, unknown action, please go back and try again. So we'll set an attribute called message that we can then go get in our JSP. So we can set an attribute. Okay, let's see if this one's going to pull through for us. So we'll give it a start. So test, happy and tired, sure. Takes me to the regular page, right? Because if we didn't have an action, or if action was empty, it would take us here. Let's see, can we add an action then? So we'll say action equals WTF. Unable to complete your request. Unknown action, please go back and try again. So it didn't know what the action was. So it adds an attribute called message, and then we get added. So using our STL, or the expression library, the EL here, it's like the next generation. We can go get values out with this dollar notation, which is super cool. And hey, this kind of looks like PHP, right? Lots of dollars. So it turns out we like copying things that are easy. So we can get the message back out. Here, so let's see. So can we change hello world here then? Right, because we want to try and get a particular value out here. Right, so instead of having to do this get parameter, let's see, can we say, hi there, let's try this. Let's add it in here again. Oh, I don't want it inside the if though, do I? Okay, here, we'll just try, hi there, dollar name. We'll add it in here a second time to see what we get here on our main page. Oh, I didn't pull through. I didn't grab name. So this dollar notation here, we're going to learn more about. We can practice more with that. So it's not pulling through the name attribute here. That's okay. So I think we have to set it over in our servlet for that to work as an attribute. That's okay. So we'll skip that. We'll come back to that. Don't worry. But if we do set it here in our controller with set attribute, we can go get it out with that dollar notation, which is super fancy and a little easier to write than doing all those code blocks, right? It's all about simplifying, trying to make the work a little bit easier for us. Okay. How you folks feeling so far? The basic servlets, JSPs. I think we did pretty good. So the last little bit here then is using Java beans, which is the funniest named thing. A Java bean is a special type of class. You might have heard someone say a plain old Java object or POJO. I don't know if people actually say that very often, but I have seen it around. It's finally getting warm out. I've got my window open, which is really nice, but finally getting the temperature up today. It was cold this morning. I was surprised. So our Java beans can be used to pass information back and forth between servlets and JSPs. Right? Because remember, the idea with object-oriented programming is I can encapsulate all the details of a noun into a class, and then I don't have to pass 15 different parameters. Right? I can pass you a class that has 15 attributes. Sure. So we'll pass through here. Let's add a new class here. We'll call this, I like beverage. Beverage is a fun class. Now there's a couple rules for Java beans. First, you have to implement serializable. Serializable. There we go. Maybe I can spell that right. So implementing serializable just means we can turn this into bytes, essentially. You might have used it in Java 2 for doing some advanced file I/O. In our case, we're just saying we want to be able to take all this information and jam it into a request. Right? And to do that, we have to turn it into bytes. So the other requirement is that we have a no argument constructor. So for beverage, we're going to have like a string for name. We might have a, I don't know, what else does beverage have? An int for current volume in milliliters, and an int for max volume in milliliters. Okay. So we have to have a constructor that has no arguments. Remember, a no argument constructor's job is to set default values. So name is null because we don't know, or maybe empty is probably better than null because null is kind of nasty. Current volume is 0, and max volume is 0 because we don't know any better. Okay. The next thing we have to have is gets and sets for all of them. So I'm going to insert code. Hopefully you've seen this before. You can insert getters. You say, yeah, I want all of them. And you can insert setters. So we'll insert code. Say, yeah, I want setters. I want all of them. Oops, check. Clicked too many times. You need sets and gets. Setters and getters. Okay. The other thing we might want, and it's just helpful, is to have a constructor with parameters. Right, so string for name, an int for current volume in milliliters, and an int for max volume in milliliters. Right, helpful to have a constructor. And then this name is the name, this dot current volume is the current volume, and this dot max volume is the max volume. Give it a little format. And now actually, right, we can use this constructor here. Right, if it empty string 0 and 0, we can make our constructor call the other constructor. Oh no, is it beverage? Did I say beverage? No. What was the keyword here? My goodness. I thought it was this. Yeah, okay, it just redlined at me for no good reason. So if you call the no argument constructor, I'll call the parameterized constructor with defaults, with 0, 0, and an empty string. And this is just shorthand, just so we don't have to write all those equals, which we already had, which is a little bit sad. Okay. Oh, and I forgot, I should show you this other trick here. Let's do this. Let's insert a constructor. I want it to accept all of these parameters. Boom. Now I've got my parameterized constructor. Let's do another constructor. Insert a constructor that takes no parameters. And then I still have to do the, what defaults do I want? But again, the less code you have to write by hand, the better. Right? Let the tool do the work for you. These are amazing tricks I don't show students in 1500 because we want them to do it by hand. And after you've done it by hand a couple times, we'll let the tool do it for you. Okay, so I show everybody in 2151. So this here is a Java bean. Java bean. You need 3 things. 1, no arg constructor. 2, sets and gets for all attributes. And 3, implement serialize. I'm just going to copy and paste that. I can do that. Implement serializable. Okay, or externalizable, but that's not as common. So usually we'll do serializable. Okay, so now we've got a bean here. We can go use this bean in our code. So let's go to our hello world, and we'll say, hey, if the action equals ignore action equals coffee. And this is what the secret coffee menu, here we go, the secret coffee menu that no one tells you exists at Starbucks, right? We'll make a bean. So we'll make a bean with some information. So we'll create a beverage coffee equal to new beverage. And we want to say, hey, this is black coffee, current current volume in milliliters. We'll make this 250 milliliters, max, and regular. Okay. So I've got the bean that I've set here, and then I can go add this bean to my request to go hand it over to the JSP. We're going to go add it the same way we did with that, custom message here. We can set an attribute. And we'll call this one, where is mine here? There. Yeah, set attribute. So we'll call request.setAttribute. And we'll call this a beverage. We'll set the beverage attribute as my coffee. So we'll add another view here. Let's add a new JSP. This one is the beverage view. Okay, we don't need any of this. We need our tag library. Don't need any of that. We want to include the header and the footer. And then we'll say, welcome to the secret coffee order club. I forget, something, sure, why not? And we'll give them a couple things then. So maybe from here, what do you want? We don't want like a table, just some sort of information. I don't know. We want something to show it. How do we want to show it to them? We can come up with something decent, right? I guess we can just put them in our output. I don't know. Let's see. How do we want to put these in our JSP? It's something prettier, right? I don't know. Sure. I'll start a paragraph maybe. And this is the name. And now I can do my dollar syntax. So it's going to be beverage dot, and it was name. Is our beverage. Let's see if we can get that through. So that's our attribute. So it's beverage is the attribute we've added, name property. Okay, so let's see if we can get that through. So if we send it as an action to the secret coffee world, so secret coffee menu. Let's get this reloaded here. Make sure we get it all. See if we can get the secret coffee menu. We should get black coffee. See if we can get our details out. Now again, we should probably add like buttons and menus and forms and all those things. I'm assuming you guys are decent at that by now. That part's the same. There we go. Hello world, test. Oh goodness. Uh-oh, we don't have any feelings. Cannot read the array because feelings is null. Oh goodness. Okay, so we got to check for null first. My mistake. Gotta clean this up a little bit here in our JSP. If feelings does not equal null and the length is greater than 0. Remember we can feelings. Remember you can shortcut feelings. I just copy pasted it. Yes, it exists. Silly thing. Just come on, process it again. So if this first thing is false, the whole thing stops. So if it is null, this is false, and it never will check the length. And this is where it fails, because you can't check the length of null. Like null.length does not work, gives you nothing. So we just had to fix that JSP there. Let's retry that. There we go. Add our test. Now we need to add an action. Is the what's secret coffee menu. Again, we would add a form here and this sort of thing. Oh goodness. Okay, we didn't get our details out, but we got a JSP. We got a beverage. Oh, we didn't even get the welcome. What happened? did that work? Where's our errors? What is all this? That's not us, right? This is, yeah, okay, that was the last error. So did it take us to beverage? Oh my goodness. Hello world. We sent it to the same, we never redirected it anywhere. We created the beverage, but we didn't send it anywhere, so we just had nothing. There was no response at all. That was my bad. This is views beverage.jsp. There we go. If we actually send it somewhere, maybe this will work. Secret coffee menu. Name, black coffee. So what we're doing is we're using a bean, this is just a Java class, just a fancy Java class that meets a couple parameters, to have all of the details passed back and forth. So I don't need to set an attribute for beverage name, I don't need to set an attribute for beverage volume, I don't need to set an attribute for beverage current volume. Right? I can use a class, which is how we want to do things with object-oriented programming, to pass data back and forth. Then if we've done that, using this EL, the expression language, it's super easy to go get the value out. Right? We just go grab it with this dollar notation. That's our syntax. So beans and the expression language work very nicely together. Very, very nicely. Okay. We could also, if we wanted, check certain things in tags. And we'll talk more about the Jstl, the Java Standard Tag Library, later. They give you a little bit here in Chapter 6, but we'll get more into that. We'll spend a whole chapter talking about the Jstl, which is fun. So we imported, we have messages there, code, yep, we're in good shape. I think we're in good shape. So let's talk about our last individual project, just a quick JSP project. Okay. Yeah, the alternate methods for this is a little bit messy. So don't worry too much about it. Okay. So doing this sort of notation in Java code snippets is doable, but it's very verbose. Doing it with the JSP tags is doable, but it's still a little bit more wordy. Doing it with the expression language, the EL is the fastest. Right? This is more of our PHP style, right? Nice and easy. Right? We don't even have to echo anything. Right? We just, here it is. Okay. How are you feeling so far? You doing okay? Space there, just to clean that up. Make it look consistent. Okay, so over in my GitHub here, all of this was in my GitHub folder. I can just commit the code. You guys all have the examples. I don't think I'm going to have all of you set up GitHub repositories or make them for you just to turn in this project. You can just zip it all up for me. I feel a little bit bad that we're not doing it, but it's a lot of work to get them set up. And I have a lot of back and forth for people who haven't done Git before. So I think moving forward, as I get more people for 1500 and 2151, I'll be using Git more often. For now, it's more JSP. There we go. Commit and push. So all that's out there and available for you folks. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It likes to change line endings. I don't care. That was fine. Did I commit? I hit commit, right? Come on. Made it sad. Didn't I already commit all this? Goodness. Yeah, we're going to do that last one here. Let's talk about that. I want to just commit this stuff. Why did I break it? Why did I break it? All right. One second. I got to fix this real fast, and then we'll go add that in. And then I'll post a quiz as well for this intro to JSP and servlets. is our Java shop. And assignments, projects. This is a quick one. Don't worry too much. Not a ton of, I don't know, we'll make it 20 points because the other ones were worth a bunch of points too. So if you need more time, I'll make it due in 2 weeks. But we're still going to talk about the final project and start it next week. So do your best to get it done early, right? But we'll wait a little while here. I'll put it out 1 more week just in case you need a little extra time. Okay, so create a Java Servlet JSP project that allows users to shop for. Should we do coffee because it's a Java shop? All right, items at your cafe. Have a home page that gives them a list of items they can order. You know, things like coffee with or without cream, that sort of thing, and prices for each item. Okay. So nothing super fancy. We'll just have like a little menu. You can buy some things here. So we'll have some checkboxes, right? Maybe a little text field, include a field for order notes. They leave for the barista. Right? You know, you can leave little custom comments here, without cream, that sort of thing. So include at least 10 items you can order, and after clicking order, take them to a receipt page. It shows the total and tends to ask them for payment information. Right? So okay, I want to buy all these things, so I order them. You don't need any logic like a fancy cart or anything. Just check a bunch of boxes, click order, takes me to, all right, here's your receipt. Here's a button for pay. Right, you know, type in some information and pay, that sort of thing. So this needs to use the MVC model. And MVC model with a servlet controller and JSP views with Java Bean models. Right, the Java Beans are like the models. That's the code part. We can have additional logic there as well, but that's the basic code piece there. Okay. And a rubric here. This is Java shop. Don't need all these other ones. So this is complete and missing. We'll do these at 5 points each. So Java shop, main page, list of items to buy from JSP view, or what's that? Sent from servlet controller to JSP view. We'll have the receipt page with items and prices, and the total. This button to pay, sent from the servlet and the JSP view, and then our thank you page or something. Java shop, thank you for your order page with a random order number, sent from servlet controller to the JSP view. So generate like a random order number. It doesn't actually have to do anything. Just make one up for a controller. There. So that's 15. So that's 5 per page there. And then let's add one more here. Is for JSP views for header, footer, and an error handling page. The action wasn't found. Okay, so 5 points for including those other things, having the header and the footer included like we did, and then that error page, like, hey, if we couldn't find the action that you wanted, we'll do it here. So our controller, right, we have the main page, we have the receipt page, and we have the thank you page, essentially. Right, so if it's not one of those actions, then give them that error page. Okay, and these overall score things are obnoxious. So ideally, this one's quick. Right? Whip up a couple pages, but gives you a chance to practice here. This is overall score. I don't know what that even means. Okay, 20 points for that. Ideally, you've got it done in a week, because we're going to start the final project next week. Right? If you haven't, that's okay. We'll have a little bit of buffer time. I won't go over a solution for it until April 8th. Oh, I should rename this here. Sorry. This is Project 4, Java Shop. And you can use the regular Java code snippets. You can use the JSP tags, or you can use the expression library. Either one you want to use is perfectly fine with me. Right? Any way you want to go about it. I'm okay with that. Okay, let me figure out what did I do here with my GitHub. It's 2454. How did I break this so bad? Got untracked files. Okay, I just have to close this. Sometimes Git gets weird and you have to upset it here. So git add hello world. Oh, another process is running. That's right. Oh, jeez. Close it. Let me just close it. Nope. The lock file exists. Goodness. That is annoying. Let me see if I can just open it back up. GitHub. I broke it. All right, so that's what we've got for today. So that's the next project to do. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I need to grade your other projects. I apologize for being so far behind. That's terrible. Okay. Hello world. We'll commit. Lock file already exists. Oh my god. Okay, so I need to go fix that. That's obnoxious. I'll take care of that. All right, and then next week we'll talk more about the Jstl and the expression language, EL and Jstl from 8 and 9, and then the week after that we'll start talking about databases in Java, sessions and cookies, a little bit of extra on DOM, AJAX, some asynchronous things, some other common frameworks. And then the final exam on 4/29, along with the final project being due. The final exam will not be bad, I promise. Quiz-style questions. Nothing intense there. The final project is actually checking if you can use the code. Okay? So I'll post the quiz for you folks later on the JSP chapters up through 6, like the basics, Tomcat stuff, intro to JSP, 1 through 6. We skipped 4 because I think that was the HTML, CSS primer stuff. All right, we can go from there. It's been fun. Do you folks have any other questions? You were relatively quiet today, but, you know, it's okay. Not a big deal there. Let's see who we can go pester. Aha. Let's go do some math. That's always fun. No, whoa, my goodness, what did I do? Click the wrong button, folks. There we go, Professor Peter. We'll go hang out to math office hours and go from there. Hey, good to see you. Folks, take care. And let me know if you have questions, comments, concerns, and we can go from there. Take care, everybody.